As we described previously, the value stream mapping, or VSM, is a tool used to create transparencies around activities which create value for the customer and to identify pain points or waste along the way. It is important to perform this exercise end-to-end. Following an end-to-end approach means breaking silos between departments. A silo approach is vertical, driven by department managers, so usually quite company-centric. On the contrary, an end-to-end approach is horizontal, driven by process owners and customer-centric. For example, the finance department of a company focuses only on improving the invoice-to-cash process, because this is the piece of the process they manage. So they don't consider the entire process. However, customers don't care about the detailed process, but about the end-to-end lead time from the moment they place the order. The end-to-end improvement approach is essential for many reasons. More than 40% of waste is in interfaces and handover. If you apply a silo approach, you might miss the opportunity to address this waste. You may realize that some departments are interfaces themselves, the typical mid-office that has been creating to better connect the front office and the back office when they do not cooperate or speak different languages. You probably don't need this department if you foster cooperation. The root cause of an issue is rarely in the department where the effect is visible. The end-to-end approach helps to identify the real root causes and brings employees to talk and find solutions together. Employees need to see the end-to-end picture to better contribute to customer satisfaction. They need to understand which of their activities are the most critical and what impact their mistakes and negligence can have on their colleagues downstreams. Concretely, a value stream mapping can be done in a workshop facilitated by a lean expert. At least a representative of each step of the end-to-end process should attend, and usually no more than 12 participants. The objective is to go through all activities at a good level of details and to try to get all the information they can help the team to evaluate the percent of value creation versus waste. Typically, this information includes executor of the activity, information system, right first time ratio, occurrence, process time, waiting time, backlog, process data, and value creation. At the same time, the lean expert encourages participants to share all the issues they have and all ideas for improvement they can think of. In this manner, we can measure the total lead time by the sum of all process times and waiting times, and the total workload by the sum of all process times. This is an interesting exercise because it reveals the real cost of the process and may lead to some reconsideration of pricing or even service portfolio itself. Then, if we plot the workload by operator and we compare it with the takt time as the frequency of the request as defined in the previous module, we come out with a very interesting workload balance sheet. And this is the only way you can visualize bottlenecks and idle times in service. Unfortunately, this calculation is not as simple as in manufacturing because operators are rarely dedicated full time to one process and many steps are conditional, so the occurrence in the process may vary. Let me show you how this calculation applies with the case I recently working on for an insurance company. In this example, customers ask for a new policy every minute. Therefore, the takt time is 1 minute. To deliver a new policy, the company needs to go through 4 different steps. technical support, policy production, policy printing, and policy distribution. Let's focus on the first two steps. Technical support is required for 50% of customers. It takes 15 minutes, and the staff is composed by 20 people who are dedicated for 25% of their time to policy emission. Policy production is obviously required for 100% of customers. It takes 5 minutes, and the staff is composed by 10 people who are dedicated for 100% of their time to policy emission. In your opinion, which one is the bottleneck? Let's calculate together. The average process time for technical support is 50% times 15 minutes. The full-time equivalent is 20 headcounts times 25% of time dedication. This means that the equivalent process time per full-time equivalent is 1.5 minutes. The average process time for policy production is 100% times 5 minutes. The full-time equivalent is 10 headcounts times 100% of time dedication. This means that the equivalent process time per full-time equivalent is 0.5 minutes. Remember takt time? It was 1 minute, which means that our bottleneck is technical support. Often you will realize that the number of full-time equivalent needed to accomplish the current value stream is less than the real number of employees. Sometimes you might even notice a difference from 30 to 40%. This is normal and mainly due to two reasons. One, idle time is not captured in value stream mapping. Two, fragmentation and switch of context is also not captured in value stream mapping and usually impact productivity by 20%. An operator dedicated full-time to one process is 20% more productive than the same operator dedicated to 3 or 4 processes. So, in this lesson, we have covered the following key points. The end-to-end approach is essential to see the big picture and address root causes. The value stream mapping is a tool used to collect all information in order to estimate the percentage of value creation. If you plot the value stream data and the takt time, you obtain the workload balance sheet, which is the only way to visualize bottleneck and idle times in services.